Hello again everyone and welcome back to Platform 1, our weekly news live stream for everything model railways. It's me, Jack, and Dave.
Hi guys.
Once again, joining us on this very horrible rainy day here at the Hattons Hub, unfortunately. But yeah, got as ever, we have plenty of stuff coming up for you guys today. We're going to be here for an hour. If you have a look in the description, all the links are there to what we're going to talk about today, to different things on our website, and you can get a bit of an idea about what's coming up in the show, really. Get your questions ready in the comments, and we'll be sure to answer them after each section. And let's get cracking, I think. Yeah,
let's get right stuck in. I think we have to start where we left off last week, actually. We mentioned just a little bit at the end of last week's live stream that we'd just received some brand new rolling stock from Dapol in 00 and N-gauge. And we actually have them on the table this week. They are now in stock and available to order. It's Dapol's 00 gauge Bogie bolster E and the N-gauge HIA as well. And let's start with the 00 model there. Let's have a look at the Bogie bolster E. Now these are engineers' wagons, as you can see on the video there, and these were built by British Rail in the 1960s, and over 1,000 of them were actually built and used for various engineers' duties, as well as carrying some steel coils, used right through until the 1980s, hauled by pretty much every type of diesel locomotive you can think of. And these are a stunning model as well. You can see the underframe detail there. You can see how they look on a full rake as well as on their own. I mean, I think there's about 12 in that shot there.
Yeah, that's a good looking rake there, isn't it?
But there's such a highly detailed wagon, and one of the main things I like is that the bolsters are interchangeable as well. You can actually move the bolsters around on the top.
And that's actually accurate to real life, isn't it? They could move around those bolsters and the stanchion sections to make sure that they could carry different loads and stuff.
That's exactly it, and the model really replicates that. I've never really seen something like that before in a model, actually. It is
very unusual, and it is nice that Dapol's gone to the effort of including that, I think.
It really is.
It really is. As you can see, you can just pull that straight off. It's very easy to do, and it's very easy to slot it back in. There's just little pips there, and they pop onto the sides. It really is quite simple, and obviously in the detail pack, you get the full stanchions to place in, and there's actually multiple different, you won't be able to see it on the camera here unfortunately, but there is actually multiple different holes there, so you can put them in different positions.
And they use that for the different types of traffic they carried as well. And there's 6 variations of those in stock at the moment. We've had all 6 in and they're available to order now. And the differences there, they're all in the BR bauxite livery, but they do have minor variations on what duties they are, the running numbers, etc. And they're all £25.46 each. So have a look at that link in the description, and they're available to order.
There's actually 3 different designations of these wagons, aren't there? Which is quite interesting to me. I think it's the BEV, the YRV, and the YNV, isn't it?
So there's a couple of different types. The V indicates that they're all vacuum braked.
Right.
And then the different letters in there show whether they're engineers' wagons or actual normal commercial freight as well, because with there being over 1,000, they got quite a lot of different duties.
Oh yeah, I bet.
So anyone who's a 00 gauge modeler who models late 1960s, 70s, 80s, that really good sort of BR blue era, a little bit of BR green coming in there as well. These are ideal, and a lot of people already have engineers' rakes on the layout, and these just fit in, whether you've got a couple of ballast hoppers or a shark brake van or something along those lines. They'll fit in as part of an engineer's rake perfectly. So whether you want a couple or whether you want a full rake, they're really suitable models.
Well, that's it, and engineers' trains are really in vogue at the moment, aren't they? There's a lot of stuff coming through if you're into that side of modelling, so it really is a good time to get one of these. And like you say, with there being so many built and they were used for all different purposes, there's a lot of ways you can use them on your layout, and even you could potentially use them on a press layout too, because you quite often see these sort of wagons stabled up at the side of the yard, potentially rotting away, but sometimes they're still used as well for infrastructure duties today.
That's it. A lot of these wagons were rebuilt into what they call turbot ballast wagons, which are also available in 00 gauge and can be pre-ordered. But a lot of them, as you indicated there, have survived into preservation too, so you can use them behind a steam locomotive if you wish, or on a 21st century layout.
A lot of options for those, aren't there?
Absolutely. Right, let's get the N-gauge guys excited. We're going on to the HIAs now. Now these are a miniature marvel. They've really got to be classed as such at the end of the day. These build on Dapol's 00 gauge model, which was released a couple of years ago. It's an absolute critical acclaim, and they've got the shrink rate out and made them pretty much half the size, but not lost any of the detail. There's 6 variations of these available currently. You've got them in the 2 Freightliner liveries, as you can see there. You've got green and white as well. And for N-gauge there, when you can't see the couplings on the front, it looks like we've got the double O
I was
model
just
in
about
the
to say
studio.
that. You'd be hard-pressed to tell what scale that was if it wasn't for the couplings, wouldn't you?
It really is a nice model, and again, the white livery there as well. It does quite stand out as well compared to your usual colours on modern image wagons.
Bit unusual, isn't it?
And the real-life wagons have been used since about 2005. There's over 100 of them built, and they're used on what they call aggregates industries. So that's all your sort of heavy rock and rail, really, which is your stone, your limestone, sand, etc. They're pretty much all over the UK on those duties. One of my favourite places to see these wagons is in the Peak District, a place called Great Rocks. You'll see them with some really heavy freight locomotives taking the limestone out of the Derbyshire Dales there and coming through, and that's what these wagons look really good as, on a full rake set up through. But the individual details on there as well, you can see some of the close-ups before, and we've got really high definition pictures on our website too. All separately fitted handrails, full in-depth printing on the logos and the warning flashes, etc. And they've got a bit of weight to them as well. So
that's just what I was about to say, actually, is that picking it up, you really do feel like this is a solid model.
Yes.
It doesn't feel flimsy. It's not even really plasticky feeling. It's just really solid and a lot of weight there. So it's really going to perform magnificently, this, isn't it?
They really do. We've had a couple going around on our test track just to see how they perform, and they do look fantastic with a Class 66 on the front of them. They really do look the part, just as good, if not slightly better than the double O gauge models. That's what Dapol's really got a good name for at the moment, bringing high quality wagons to double O, N gauge and O gauge as well. They're making a lot of wagons now as well. So,
well, it was like those turbines you mentioned before, isn't it? They're coming through to O gauge, and not the Bogie bolsters, with a few other bits coming through.
It is the Bogie bolsters. It is the Bogie bolsters in O gauge as well. So whether you're modelling O, N or double O, have a look at what Dapol's bringing through in wagons. As you can see, the quality on these two here is really something special.
And these are really ripe for maybe a little bit of weathering up, and it's really easy to get a load in there as well if you wanted to go for a bit more realism. Obviously, you can have them rolling empty anyway, just as an empty, but it's they're very ripe for popping some loads in there. They look great. It's
a perfect weekend project for a rainy weekend like this, really.
Definitely, yeah.
But let's stick with N-gauge, actually, because speaking about N-gauge 66s, we've got something coming forward on that, and these are the Gauge Master Collection locos. So perfect 66 for hauling your new HIA wagons. There's two liveries coming through. There is 66789 in the popular British Rail livery.
Oh yeah, that's.
But there's also 66783, which is the Flying Dustman, which is in the Biffa Red, and that's a little more controversial, that livery. Some people like it, some people don't. It's a bit of a Marmite livery, but those are coming through in N-gauge, and we've been told by Gauge Master that they'll be delivered within the next couple of weeks, and they're available to pre-order now on our website for £99.
But yeah, like you said, it was, a little bit of an infamous livery for Biffa there, but it's remained incredibly popular nonetheless. Obviously, we've got our double O versions of those coming in ourselves, the Hattons Originals, Class 66 in double O as well. So they're those two have been tremendous pre-order sales for those. So there's they remain to be incredibly popular liveries, but you can see those out and about all over the place.
That's
really,
they do stand out, with the British Rail model being in the typical BR large logo livery with the blue and the yellow, and the Biffa being, well, in that bright red Biffa livery, really. They do stand out.
It's unmistakable, really, isn't it?
They've got a little bit of a celebrity status as well, so it's fantastic to see N-gauge modelers being able to get on the celebrity train there, so to speak, with those 66s. But then with the HIAs, the 66s, there's more and more coming through for N-gauge modern image modelers. So take a look at our listings. There's so much at the moment.
Well, we've had quite a few releases through from N-gauge recently. It's a really good time if you're into that part of the hobby. We've obviously had these HIAs come through, these 66s coming in. There's quite a bit of other stuff coming through from Gauge Master as well, isn't there, with the track cleaners that are due. And
yes,
there really is a lot going on. So for you N-gauge guys, it's been a really good time of the year, I think.
It really has. And again, just the quality of them coming through at the moment as well. High quality Gauge Master Collection locomotive hauling high quality Dapol HIA wagons looks really good as part of a rake.
It's as good as double O pretty much now, isn't it? So let's have a quick look at the comments anyway and see what you guys are all saying. So we'll start off with a couple of questions on the wagons we talked about. Bluegrass Rail Fan says that those N-gauge wagons look really tempting, and he saw them on the site earlier this week. So good that we've got some eagle-eyed viewers on our website there already.
That's it, and we've got some really close-up photos on the website as well, so do take a look if you really want to see them up close and personal.
And I believe you'll be putting out one of your showcase videos looking a bit deeper into the wagons as well.
Yes,
so,
we filmed the videos earlier today, so we've got those being edited at the moment, and they'll be on our YouTube channel probably over the next couple of days.
That's it. Megaflyer37 asks, are they also available in 00 gauge? The HIAs definitely are available in 00.
Yes, they are indeed. They're again on our website. If you search for Dapol HIA wagon, you'll be able to find them in 00 and N scale, and there's not much difference in the price. They're both about, the N gauge models are £21.50. The 00 models are only a couple of pounds more, but they are just as detailed as the N gauge version, so take a look.
And with those, it's we've had quite a few batches of those in from Dapol and 00. They've been tremendous sellers over the years, so they've had to keep churning them out, really, haven't they?
They have indeed.
It's almost become a bit of a staple of the range, hasn't it? So.
It has, yeah. I think we're on the 3rd batch of those now, and they keep selling through, so take a look because they might not be there long.
That's it, especially with this N-gauge version being the first batch.
Absolutely.
Bluegrass Rail Fan says he's wondering what they... Ooh, sorry, I'm just confused what that says. I was wondering what they were used for. Look a lot different to rock trains that he's seen. Yeah, so they're mostly used for limestone, aren't they, and other aggregates?
The HIA hoppers, yes, they're made for sort of bulk stone movement, as we hinted on before, mainly used for carrying sand and limestone out of the Derbyshire Dales and other places across the country. But you can see them going quite far and wide, as some of those duties do cross a lot of the country as well. They're not really sort of local vehicles, so to speak.
Not really,
so
long-term freight, isn't it?
So you can see them going all over the place, essentially, with either sand, limestone, or normal roadstone.
The Growler Blackwood N-gauge layout says that he'd like to see some N-gauge engineering vehicles, such as Tampers, coming along.
Oh, there's be some good things to see there. Again, there's a lot of good N-gauge models coming through at the moment. I think there's a couple of engineers' coaches coming out soon.
I think so, yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, there's a bit of a gap in the market there, but keep an eye on it. But glad you've got an N-gauge layout, and hopefully we're tempting you with HIAs.
That's it, yeah, there's plenty coming through. Bowmaker Fox says he's going to be honest that Dapol has always been his first choice for N-gauge wagons because there's loads of detail and they're pretty good quality. Yeah, like we said, it's just the really fantastic wagons that Dapol are bringing through. It's really one of their fortes, really, is bringing this kind of modern freight stock through. And there's just lots of it on the way, isn't there?
It really is. They've really got the name in that market now if you're into modal wagons and the container wagons, etc. But do take a look at these HIAs. If you've not been disappointed by Dapol N-gauge wagons so far, that's going to stay the same with these. They really are something special.
Bit of chatter about the Class 66s there as well. Contrary to your point about the Biffa livery being notorious, Megafly 37 says he loves Biffa Red. So
fair enough.
It does have its fans out there as well. We're just going to have a look at the comments generally as well, see what everyone's going on. Couple of hellos, saying hello to Jackamus Prime 60, who's been raring for us to get ready this morning. So thanks very much for waiting for us to come online, Jack. Bluegrass Rail Fan says there's a long list of items in the video description, and he wonders if we've upgraded to a larger desk to cope with it all. There is a lot of big stuff on the table today, isn't there? So.
Yeah, what you don't see under the desk is someone else holding it up from everything on it at the moment. We've got a lot of stuff on the desk today. And I want to talk about the big boy.
Yeah,
I think we've got to move on to the big boy. We've got to look at it now. And this is one that we mentioned in last week's live stream with the real-life locomotive coming onto the tracks. And we did hint then that the model would be with us very soon. And here it is.
And you can see it running there and just how much of a behemoth this thing is. It's absolutely astonishing, the size of this thing. And there's been a few people on our Facebook who actually, they couldn't quite grasp just how big this locomotive is, and we actually took a photo for them on our Facebook, which compared it to just a Dapol Class 121, and it's about half the length of the thing.
It's over 18 inches long, this model, and that matches with the real loco being 132 feet. And one of the things that absolutely amazed me, we just saw it there in the video, is it still can negotiate those tight curves, even down to first radius as well. Now, my heart stopped as soon as I saw it go around first radius. I never expected a loco of this size to go around a curve so tight. But the articulation is something really special on this model.
Well, it was something that there's been a few models like that this year where I've really been astonished by the performance. So one that we had a little while ago was the Oxford Railgun. Now that again is a massive, massive item, but it had articulated wheel sets on it.
Yes.
And it managed first radius curves, it could go gradients, it could do point work, it could do whatever you wanted, and you just see this huge thing going around these tight curves, and it's amazing to see. But as Dave pointed out with this, it has this big articulated section on the front there, which you can see, and it has this sort of piston arrangement to keep it moving, and then the centre section is also articulated as well. You've got a bit of movement on these trucks here and on the tender, so it really is quite a it's quite a flexible being, isn't it? So
the best thing about this as well is it's not only the locomotive that you get, it is in a commemorative pack to celebrate the real-life locomotive returning to service, and also the 60th anniversary of its withdrawal in 1959. So you don't only get the model that you see there, you also get the decorative shield, a pin badge as well, and they are a limited edition. They're a quite strict limited edition of only 1,000 actually. So they're coming through. We have sold quite a lot of these already. So if you do want a big boy for your layout, do have a look at them pretty quick. We're really not expecting them to stick around, to be quite honest. And the link is in the description as well if you do want to take a closer look. And one thing to look forward to is, again, we'll be making a video for one of those. It's in production at the moment, and we'll have that on our channel over the next few days.
It's one thing that's really astounded me with this, taking a bit of a closer look, is just the level of detail that's present on the model, which you would expect from a Riverosi model. Little things that I don't think a lot of people would actually notice or expect to be there. It's things like the bell on front actually moves.
Right, okay. I did not know that.
It's just a little bit of movement there, and they really didn't have to do that, but it's just an extra nice little touch. It's obviously not something that you're going to be doing.
That's something I've learnt today now. That's an interesting one.
That's it. And obviously you've got all the pipework and the handrails along the sides. You've got all that underframe detail. The tender's got loads of detail on it. You've got the coal load in there. And this has got directional light as well, so you've got its big old headlight on the front there, and there's a little lamp on the back too, which is, if it's in reverse, it'll put the white light on at the back.
It's a great opportunity to see the differences between UK and US steam locomotive design, especially with the A4 shells, which we will come to. You can see the sleek design there, but the big boy is designed to work. It's got the pipe work on there. It is built to haul heavy trains. I mean, some of the trains that it hauled over Sherman Hill in Utah reached over 1/2 mile long at some points in real life. And powerful more so than sort of two big UK diesels coupled together as well. So they really had a lot of grunt.
I was doing a little bit of research on these for the bits and bobs we had going out for it, and it's something like £156,000 foot of tractive effort that this thing can put down. So it really was one of the most incredible designs of steam locomotive ever.
Well, the real locomotive actually holds the record for being the largest operational and the most powerful operational steam locomotive anywhere.
The heaviest as well.
It is the heaviest too. So,
but what's so fascinating about this one, like you mentioned before, this is a special edition pack, so you get your plaque and your pin badge there, and that's to mark the 60th anniversary of these being withdrawn on the US network.
Yes.
But amazingly, one has been completely restored to working condition this year. It was bought back by the Union Pacific out of whoever had it before, and they've completely, from 2013 they started putting it back together. They converted it to oil firing just to make it a bit more easy to operate and a bit more reliable, and they've just popped it right back out onto their network, and it's been on a bit of a mammoth tour across the Midwest from what I've seen. There's loads of amazing pictures out there of it storming away along the lines through the city centres of America, and it's a really surreal sight really. We've had a couple of people on our Facebook as well send us in pictures saying, I was sitting in the office at work and then all of a sudden the big boy comes past down the street, and it's like, oh, okay, that's something you don't see every day, isn't it?
Well, that's the great opportunity with this model, as well as with a lot of models we feature. You don't just have to run them in the era that they originally ran in. This locomotive is just at home on a 21st century layout as it is on the 1950s layout as well. And even for people who don't have a US setup, it's a great model to put next to other sort of icons of steam, such as Flying Scotsman and Mallard, and just compare some of the great sort of the giants of steam from across the world. It really does look part of being a celebrity.
That's it, yeah. And it's, you know, for all you collectors out there, even if you don't want to have it on a layout, it's a fantastic display item to have.
Yes.
There's so much detail there, it's so imposing, and like Dave said, if you had some sort of Legends of Steam collection, you can't not have a big boy in that, can you? It's such an icon.
That's certainly it.
But the comments are absolutely lighting up about old big boy over here. So Bluegrass Rail fan says he can't wait for KO to do a big boy.
Oh, might be an Engage one there. That might be something to come through. If it does, we'll have it on the desk.
An incredible sight, that, I think. 700 Shunter says he thinks it looks absolutely colossal. I can assure you it is. You can see even just from, like I was saying before, we had to do a couple of comparison shots just to show how big it is. And comparing it to this O-gauge body shell of RA4, which as they said we will cover at some point today, you can see how massive that is. That's an O-gauge model.
The model is over 1.5 feet long in real size compared to 132 foot the real loco is. So in both model form and real life form, it's gargantuan.
Bigger than a Subway sandwich.
Just about.
Bowmaker Fox says, "Oh my, look at that beast! What an engine!" Bluegrass Railfan says the Union Pacific also sent 3985 into eastern Kentucky about 30 years ago. That articulated engine had some tight curves in the mountains to navigate, and it also ran as Clinchfield 676. And there's a great video on YouTube about it.
Right, I'll have to check that one out. That may be one of the Challenger locos that's slightly smaller than a big boy.
But they're still interesting to...
but still huge, colossal machines. So I'll have to take a look at that one. Thank you.
That's it, yeah. It's great to have some resident experts on American stuff in the comments, and we can find out all these stuff every day. So, Ono Mulder asks, is the big boy a HO or a 00 model? This is a HO gauge model, but it will run on 00 tracks as well. There's no issue there. It's the same width for tracks, but it's just a very slightly different scale, whereas 00 is 176, this is 187, so there's a bit of a slight difference there in the size of it.
But they will run on the same tracks as Jack said.
Bluegrass Rail fan again, he says, I like the styling of UK steam locomotives, but he likes the power of the US ones.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to look at it.
Ours were quite pretty and powerful enough for what we needed them for, but nothing really matches what the Americans were doing at that time.
I think we've got to go from one of the biggest ever items we'll feature to one of the smallest ever items we'll feature. I don't think we're going to do something of this scale again. From a loco that's 132 feet long to a coach that's just over 6 foot long.
There's about 5 people in it.
Fits about 5 people in it. This really is going from massive to minimal size. And these are Pico's latest 009 gauge models. These are narrow gauge and based on the Festiniog Railway bug box coaches. Now I know that narrow gauge is something that you've hinted to people that you like before, Jack.
Yeah, I think it's becoming a bit of a common theme with me, isn't it, all the narrow gauge stuff. And we've been very lucky the past few weeks to have a lot of 009 stuff coming through. There's obviously Pico had their big announcements recently about the Small England and the Double Fairley coming through, and there's other stuff coming through from Helgen, and there's a lot. It really is a great time to be in that part of the hobby.
Yes.
But yes, these bug boxes, I am very, very excited about these ones coming through. Like you said, gone from the one of the biggest things that we've shown off on the stream to one of the smallest, and these are absolutely dainty, tiny little things, and they've got a fascinating history, haven't they? Because they are the oldest operational coaches in the world, aren't they?
They are indeed. They were built in 1863 for the Festiniog Railway, just after they started running passenger services with steam locomotives, and they've remained there ever since. There's been a couple of replicas, a couple of changes to the body styles, but the 3 major ones are being covered by Pico in the models there. As we saw in the picture that just came up, we saw the first class, the third class, but also the observation car as well, which has open sides and sort of a mesh over the front too. And they actually call that the zoo car because of the sort of the cage, and you can just see it on the left hand vehicle there is that car that we're referring to. And they really do look like high quality models. Pico's really made a name for itself in bringing 009 rolling stock to the market. They've already produced coaches for the Linton and Barnstaple Railway and also the Glyn Valley Tramway too, and a lot of wagons for various different operators. And just adding to that Festiniog range, you can see some of the real life vehicles there with over 150 sort of years of history behind them. And there's a couple of different liveries that they're promising too, some of which you just saw in those photos, the green livery and the Victorian sort of more ornate,
brown and purple, isn't it?
Ornate lined livery as well. And again, they're available to pre-order now. We haven't got confirmed price details on those as of yet, but as soon as we get that information, we'll add it to our listings. But you can pre-order them now, or you can sign up on our website for registered interest, so when we get more details, we'll let you know.
That's it. Jump down to that link in the description. You can find out all about those and get your order in for them as well. But yeah, as you can see from those photos as well, it's one of the beauties of narrow gauge, which we've sort of touched on a little bit before, is that you really can get quite creative with these things.
Yes.
And a couple of the rakes that we had in the real life photos, there's quite a variety of coaches involved there. So it's quite easy to have a really short rake of maybe 3 or 4 of the bug box coaches, but then you could have a couple of other Festinio coaches, or you could even have some L&B coaches on the back.
Absolutely.
Or whatever you like, really. There is a lot of fun to be had with narrow gauge, and you can really mix and match and get a tray looking just the way you want it. And I think they're very ripe for fiddling about with them, aren't they? Putting some passenger figures inside if you can, and you could even, I'd like to see one try and scratch build some of the other types of bug boxes, because there was a few other types which aren't being covered in this first release. There's a really fascinating one that I've seen where you sit sort of with your back to the side of the line, don't you? And there's a leather shawl that comes over the passengers, which I think you could probably see in one of the pictures that we showed a minute ago.
It's called the flying bench, because it pretty much is a bench on wheels, essentially.
Incredible.
So it's a little bit less than third class, I think, maybe fourth class, that one. But there's absolutely no better time, I think, to start narrow gauge modelling at the moment, especially in 009, with just locos that are currently available, the models that are on the way as well, the rolling stock and the track is all currently available. So if you have been thinking of making a narrow gauge layout or extending your 00 gauge layout to have more on it, just have a look at the links in the description there. Check out some of the range that we do stock. We have everything you need to get you started.
It almost feels a bit unusual to be covering so much narrow gauge stuff, really, but it just shows you how much this part of modelling is expanding, because there just is so much coming through. We've got Hattons supporting with, which we're going to talk about a little bit later in today's show, supporting it with their locomotives coming through. Pico, obviously, with all the wagons and the coaches there. It's a really exciting part of the hobby.
It really is.
So
a lot of good stuff coming through at the moment.
Let's see what everyone's saying anyway. You'll see the comments are lighting up once again. So yeah, the Ballast Man agrees with us. He says interest has really shot up recently on narrow gauge.
It really has, especially over the last sort of year to 18 months or so. It's just really starting to snowball, but a lot of good models coming through for it.
Bowmaker Fox says, I really quite like narrow gauge, but you can't work on 3 different gauges on 3 layers at once. It's just impractical. So that's the only problem with modelling, isn't it? Because there's so many different areas to get into and so many different scales that we all want to do, but you can't do them all at once, can you? So, well, you can try.
You could give it a go.
Ballastman says it's amazing to see what's available now. It really is. It's just such a...
It is.
It's still a relatively niche part of the hobby, but it really has expanded.
There's several locos and a whole range of rolling stock. So as said before, check out that link and have a look at our full 009 range.
And like you said, it's great you can mix together 00 and 009 together to create some fantastic scenes, because a lot of these narrow gauge narrow gauge lines in real life, they do end up intermixing with standard gauge lines too. Obviously, you've got the Blanai Festiniog Railway meets up with the standard gauge line. The Vale of Rydal Railway does. I think the Festiniog does at one point, doesn't it? And then you've got the little Ratty up in the Lake District that meets up with the standard gauge terminus as well. So there's some really interesting scenes.
There's a lot of really good modelling opportunities there, and we can cater for them all as well. So if you've got an idea or a seed's just been planted in your head, let us know, get in touch with our team, and I'm sure we can make your dreams a reality, so to speak.
That's it. Megafly37 says the bug boxes look awesome, and he doesn't even do 009. Bluegrass Rail Fan says he's pretty occupied picking up N-scale items from all over, and he doesn't think he can take on any more stuff for 009. That's the only problem, isn't it? Right, so I think we've gone from big to small, and now we're going to go straight back to big again.
We're going back to big again, right. I am keeping track.
So now we're on to our Hattons exclusive Class A4s. Now, these are the latest painted body shells that we've had through, and we are producing these in partnership with Hattons, so we've just had those through from them. And these are really looking smashing, aren't they? We've got 4 different varieties here, and I think we've got 15 or 20 different variations coming out in total.
Yeah, now
this just gives you a bit of an idea of the different liveries that are going to come through.
That's it. These initial samples are made just to make sure that the lining and the colours are right on them, hence they're missing a few of the finer details there, such as the smokebox number plates, etc. But these are just sort of proving test samples to make sure we've got all the details correct. And there's actually 9 variations coming through of the A4s throughout their life, so right from the construction in the LNER Garter Blue and Silver, up to the current day liveries. Some of them have carried in preservation, including the likes of Union of South Africa and Sir Nigel Gresley as well. But we're also producing unnumbered versions, so if we haven't covered your favourite of the 34 locomotives, you can buy an unnumbered version and put your own plates and numbers on make your ideal loco.
We've tried to cover most of the different body styles, haven't we, with them, and the different chimney types, so you can, and the tender types as well, so you can get that exact loco that you want, and obviously each of the livery options will be available in the unnumbered versions too. But obviously these aren't quite final. A lot of the details haven't been applied. Obviously you can see the buffers and a lot of the front details not on there, but it does give a really good indication as to how the shape of the models are going to be and the livery quality and stuff like that. And the printing on these is fantastic, isn't it? I'm really excited to get some better later samples of these through.
I'm looking forward to these coming through, and we've covered the A3s before. We have a video on our channel as well for the close-up look at the A3 locos, such as the Flying Scotsman, and as soon as we've got those samples of the A4s in, we'll be producing similar videos and content along that way. And we're expecting these towards the end of 2019, and they are available to pre-order now as well, so have a look at that link in the description and you'll see every version detailed there, including a full diagram colour layout as well, so you can see how it'll look, and also suggestions for when it would run as well.
But if you want to come and have a look at these really up close, you can come and see us at the Gildex O Gauge show in a couple of weeks' time.
Yes.
So we'll have loads of stuff on display for you guys there. We'll have the A3s, we'll have these A4 body shells, Warwells and other bits and bobs of our O Gauge stock for you to come and have a look at. And you can come and see me, myself and Dave and a few of our other staff members there as well. So it should be a great day, that.
Yeah, that is the end of August, start of September weekend, the 31st of August and 1st of September, and that's at the Telford International Centre in Telford. And that can be found, there's a link on our website as well, so have a look on our website. We have got the latest news, and as Jack said, we'll be there with all our latest O Gauge exclusive projects, and we'll look forward to seeing you there.
That's it. It's going to be a great show, isn't it? Especially with all our latest samples there to see.
It will be indeed.
Right, got quite a few comments coming in about the A4s as well. Real Sponge _O says, wow, these A4s are just amazing. I'm glad you think so.
This is where it really starts to get into miniature locomotives rather than
really
models.
Does,
the lines start to blur when you get here now. Some of the details coming through really just make it to that extra special point.
It's like with Dave saying that we do have other videos on our channel about the A3s as well, and that gives you an indication of how they're going to run. We've got some really awesome videos back on our channel as well of them running on Pete Waterman's Leamington Spa layout as well, and it looks like the real thing, doesn't it? They're they're huge. They're just incredible. So do check those out if you can. Right, Cranky Chris, which is a great name by the way, he says, you keep on teasing us with these streaks. 700 Shunter says, what's your favourite livery that's been applied to an A4?
Oh, for me, it's got a bit of silver. It was only applied to the A4s, and it was the Coronation livery in the 1930s. And you don't see a loco in that sort of silver finish like that. It really
unique,
is nice.
It? Yeah, and they did try to keep it clean while it was in that livery too, didn't they? Because it really was the jewel in their crown at that point.
And the model that we're providing numbered will be 2509 Silver Link, but if you want any of the other three locomotives, we are making them unnumbered as well, so you can produce either Silver Fox, Silver King or Quicksilver.
Brilliant. I'm going to have to go with Garter Blue, because it's, you know, it's the most obvious livery I know, but it's for a reason. It's a classic. Yeah. It looks gorgeous. You can still see it at that today. It's just LNER goodness, isn't it? So what's not to like? But
we are producing every major A4 livery, so whatever your favourite livery is available to order.
That's it. Right, we've got Megafly37 back again. He says, my friend has an O Gauge A1 fitted with sound and smoke, and his friend's also pre-ordered the A4, and he's going to be fitting it with sound and smoke as well.
Oh, I'd like to see that when it's done.
Once he's done that, do get him to send us a video through, because we'd love to see that with all the smoke effects on it. Bluegrass Rail fan says the A4s on the table all look great. Richard Swallow says he's looking forward to getting bitten when it's available. Cranky Chris says he'll be at Gildex and he'll see us there.
Fantastic.
Do come and see us
there,
Chris. Look forward to seeing you there. And Bluegrass again says O Gauge really lets the details stand out. That's one of the beautiful parts of O Gauge, isn't it?
Really does.
You can. There's not much you can't really do in O Gauge, really, is there, in terms of detailing. So
we've had some more latest news, haven't we? Coming through.
We certainly have.
Helgen have let us know that not one but two new items are due with us very early next week. And these are brand new releases as well, so they can be pre-ordered now, but we're expecting them over the next couple of days. The first one is 2 of the new Linton and Barnstable locomotives. The replica locomotive lid, actually, and loo. The first 2 of those will be coming in very early next week, and this is the 3rd release of the Manning Wardle locomotives in 009 scale, but the first of the brand new cab style on the back, and that covers for the later 2 locomotives, one of which was built in 1925 and one of which was built early in the 21st century as the replica locomotive, number 190 lid.
So again, like we were talking about with the narrow gauge stuff before, plenty more coming through, isn't there? And the Helgen L&Bs have been quite nice sellers so far, and they really are lovely locomotives, these things. One thing that really strikes me with them is the weight and just the quality of the model. So all of the tanks and the chassis are all completely metal.
Yes.
And it really does add to the running quality of it because they've got a nice bit of weight there, and they're good haulers as well. But the level of detail on them is just beautiful, isn't it? So I'm really excited to see these slightly different versions of that locomotive coming through.
And they're fully digital ready as well. They have a 6-pin decoder socket in there as well for digital modelers. And as said, they are available to pre-order right now. So if you want one, place your pre-order, and as soon as they arrive here, we'll get one out of the door to you.
And like you said, we've got those first 2 coming just next week, but then there's 2 more that are coming in the future as well. So there's loads to keep you occupied. There's
a lot coming through, and then there's Lynn behind that as well, which we covered in a previous live stream. So if you want to see the Baldwin and the latest details on that, check out the other live stream that we filmed last week.
That's it. If there is anything that you feel like you might have missed from a previous episode as well, do go onto our YouTube channel. The previous episodes are Platform 1 are all available to watch on there, so check them out and you can see the other previous news that we've covered. And most of the stuff that we do tend to look at, we do special videos for them as well, with Dave taking a closer look behind what the models are all about, so you can check those out on our channel as well. So do subscribe and you can see all of the latest videos that we put out as soon as they go out.
But it's not just 009 modelers who are getting something new from Helgen next week, is it?
Certainly isn't. The other model that we're coming through is the Class 17 Clayton. So it's been a little while since we've had some of these in, isn't it?
It's been about 2 or 3 years since we last had some Claytons in stock, but they have covered all 3 major liveries carried by the class. They've covered the BR green, either with the small yellow panels or the full yellow ends, and the BR blue as well. And coming back to last week's live stream where we featured the Class 21s and 29s, these 2 follow that sort of similar life of quirky Scottish diesel locomotives that didn't last too long, but really got a cult following in the time. And with one surviving into preservation today, you can still see them in the 21st century too.
They're fantastic things, these though, aren't they? Because they're quite unusual. There's not really much of things that look like that, with the quite long bodies, but with a tiny little cab in the centre.
Yes.
There's a few locomotives that had that design, but it really is something that's quite unique. But like you say, for something that was operating in Scotland around that time when there was a lot of other oddities about there,
yes,
which I think a couple we've covered in previous streams as well, some of the stranger diesel locomotives which are on the way. But it does remind me a little bit of the Janus Shunter, but on a much bigger scale. It's got that sort of, because I know the Janus was named after the two-faced god, isn't it?
Yes.
And it is sort of the same thing with this. It's just a two-faced loco. You don't know whether it's coming or going, really, do you?
That's it.
It's a great one for all you diesel Scottish modelers out there, isn't it?
And again, they're available to pre-order right now. There's a link in the description there, and they're £118.96 each. And if you pre-order now, as soon as they land with us early next week, we'll get them straight out the door to you.
Brilliant stuff. We're coming up to about 20 minutes left of the stream now as well, so if there's any extra questions you want to ask us, do get them in the comments now. We'll try and get around to them at some point. We've got a couple more topics we're going to cover today. So yeah, like I say, 20 minutes left, and still got time to do some other bits. Just checking out the comments now. Megafly37 says that the Claytons in 00 gauge. They certainly are. They're 00 that are coming through.
Yes, sorry, they are 00 models. Yeah.
I don't believe they're available at the moment in any other gauges, are they?
They're producing them in O gauge. They're very early in the development stages there. We might see something more at the Gildex show at Telford, actually, at the start of September. So as soon as we do, we'll feature it on Platform 1. But you can pre-order them in O gauge, but they might be a couple of months off. However, if you want a 00 gauge model, next week is your time.
That's it. Lots of stuff coming through. 700 Shunter said if he had the money, he would buy a Clayton and double-head it with his ex-LSWR Drummond 700 class. So that'd be an interesting sight to see, wouldn't it? It's a bit of a mixture. So, yeah, that would be a really good one. Right, so we're on to something a little bit different now because we'd like to cover a little bit of real news out there on the railways as well in Platform 1. So sadly, well, I suppose sad for some, but maybe not so sad for others, the Class 142 Pacers have now started to be withdrawn by Northern, which they announced earlier this week, I believe.
Yes.
142005 has been the first one to go, and it worked its last job to Staley Bridge out of Manchester, and then it signed off. I think we'll have a picture coming up in a minute. They actually made a special retirement card.
There you go.
And they actually liveried it up with a special retirement livery, which is quite unusual.
Well, apparently it's worked over 3 million miles of passenger duties since it was introduced in the early 1980s, and they were always meant as a bit of a stopgap, but they've lasted a lot longer, all 96 of them.
Yeah.
But now with a lot more modern trains coming into use, they finally are being withdrawn, and they are a bit of a Marmite multiple unit, really.
Because you can kind of see why people don't like them, because they were designed, like you say, to be a stopgap. They were only really meant to last 5 or 10 years while they were going to source other rolling stock, which unfortunately never transpired. But they've been out there on the rails for 35 years now, and they're still going strong in a lot of cases. They're just not really designed for the jobs that they've been put onto now, a lot of intercity work. And I believe there's some journeys you do which can be up to 3 hours long. I don't know if you'd really want to be on the one for that long. But they've really kind of, I was going to say overstayed the welcome, but I don't think that's the right way of putting it. I think they really have kind of, with being such a lightweight design, being designed for a particular thing, they really have kind of proved their worth, and they've gotten the use out of them, certainly, haven't they? Like you say, 3 million miles on that, on 1005, so... They've
done a lot more than was expected of them. I think they really have sort of proven themselves, and the great thing there as well is there are models available of them at the moment too. So you can order the Engage model, another great one for Engage modelers.
That's it.
And that's from Dapol as well, and that's available in a couple of different liveries at the moment, and you can click the link in the description to see those.
It really was highly anticipated for quite a long time, the Dapol model, wasn't it? And it's through in quite a variety of liveries, so you can cover it in both pre-privatisation days and right up to the current scene. There's Regional Railways liveries there, there's Tyne and Wear, Arriva Trains Wales, Northern Spirit. So quite a lot of colour schemes there. And the beauty of the 142s is they did get all over the place, really, didn't they? They were all over the north, down in Cornwall, Wales. So
they did they did start to spread the wings, and they do run with a lot of other modern multiple units as well. So if you have other super sprinter type units on your layout already, that's the perfect ones to pair them with.
That's it. And I believe that's what's probably going to be taking over a lot of the duties for now while they're bringing the new trains in. The 150s and the 156s will be passing on to those routes a bit more strongly, not pairing up with the 142s as much. And they're waiting for the new Civity class units to fully roll out, aren't they? So that's the class 195s and the 331s, so that's replacing those. So I suppose sad time for a lot of people, but at the same time, that's progress, I suppose.
That's progress. It is indeed.
But Nathan says he's probably in a minority, but he's sad to see the 142s are starting to get retired. I'm a little bit sad as well, to be honest with you. It's one of my local units that I used to see going past the station when I was a little kid, and still see them today. So got a bit of a soft spot for the old Pacer.
They have got a cult following with quite a few enthusiasts and modelers as well, with Hornby's model being produced for nearly the same amount of time as the actual the multiple units ran themselves. The
classic model.
Hornby's model came out in the 1980s and has been produced ever since in a lot of different liveries. We've got the Engage model from Dapol too, so they're just as cult an item for modelers as they are for real life rail enthusiasts.
That's it. If you're really lucky, keep an eye on our pre-owned section as well. And we do quite often see the Hornby 00 models coming through on some great prices for them as well. So do keep an eye there and you can see them. But as Dave said as well, if you check that link in the description, you can find a link to order the Dapol Engage ones. Again, a fantastic item for all of our Engage modelers out there. Mega Flyer 37 says that he's going to try and ride as many Pacer units as possible. That's a great task to try and do before they all go away. I think they're going to be here for a little while longer, but not too long. I think Northern's going to try and get rid of theirs by the end of the year.
I believe so.
And then I think Wales are looking to get rid of theirs pretty shortly after.
Yeah.
So probably not a scene we're going to see on the railway for much longer, unless a few go onto preservation lines, which might happen.
Or you pick one up for your layout and it can be there as long as you like.
That's it, immortalise it at home. Megafly 37 also says he's probably going to get a 00 gauge Pacer. So yeah, like I say, keep an eye out on our pre-owned and you might be able to find one on there for a great price. Right, so we've got some other very interesting news for
We have
you guys,
indeed,
haven't we?
and this is the one that excites me, well, quite a lot of people actually, this is the second series of the Great Model Railway Challenge. We watched the first one, we were avid viewers of the first series, and the second series has now been announced and air dates have been announced too.
Well, we sort of said it was like Eurovision for railway modelers, didn't we? We were, us guys were all sitting at home watching it and texting each other with what was going on, weren't we? So it was quite exciting for us to watch that, and we're really keen to see the second series. It was a lot of interesting stuff surely to come, a lot of interesting themes that they're going to cover in the show, and I believe it's actually going to be longer episodes this time, and there's going to be more episodes too. So it really has been quite a successful show for Channel 5, and we're just really glad to see that, because the more model railways are out there for people to see, more people get into the hobby, and more stuff going on TV, the better, we think. So do check that show out. It's starting on, like Dave said, on the 30th of August at 8 PM on Channel 5, so just a couple of weeks to go, and we're really quite excited to see what the teams create, and hopefully in the future we might see some of their layouts out at shows as well.
We are indeed, and we'll be running a full feature on our website too. You can see that right on the front page there at the moment, and we'll be putting up sort of pretty little bits of information about the shows and airing dates, etc too. So if you want a bit of a hub with all the knowledge of what's going on in the show, check out that page too on our website, and as soon as the episodes start coming out, we'll be writing down our thoughts.
That's it. Each episode that comes out, all the information will be on there, and before it comes out as well, we will have a link to watch it on Channel 5's on-demand website as well. So if you need to keep up to date with that show, you can see it all on there and see our thoughts too. And
for those of you on the exhibition circuit as well, if you're going to the Wally show at the end of the year, and pretty much who doesn't in the model railway industry, they will have the winning layout there as well. And another great reason to come to Wally is that we'll be there as well. We'll be there with the Hattons stand showing off all our latest exclusives, and that's in November. So we'll cover that in more detail on a later Platform 1, but a little bit of insider information there for you as well.
Really excited for Wally this year. It's always a great show, and you never really know what to expect, especially with real life locomotives in attendance as well, and so many model manufacturers and different shops and model companies and loads of people there. So it's always an amazing show. But also, again, like we mentioned before, the next big show for us is going to be Gildex at Telford in a couple of weeks' time. So we do hope to see a lot of guys there too.
We do.
And do keep an eye on our website as well, because there is other events that we do attend throughout the year. We've already been to the Great Central Railway, London, Scotland, and a few others this year. So, and we will be attending Get later this year as well, won't we? So it's a lot to get out there and see.
Now, we did get a little bit of last minute news just before we came on there as well, actually from Hornby, with more stock coming through on Monday. They've informed us that the ScotRail HST power cars and the ScotRail Mark II coaches will be with us on Monday. So again, they're available to pre-order now. And as soon as we get them on Monday, if you've got a pre-order in place, we'll get them shipped straight out to you.
That's it. Head over to our website now and you can pre-order both of those items. They are looking to not be with us very long, to be honest with you. ScotRail stuff does tend to fly out the door pretty quickly. There's been a lot of orders for the Mark IIFs. I believe one of the coaches is sold out already.
It has.
So you might want to get your hands on those before they shoot out as well. And the ScotRail HST, it's the first time that livery has ever been done in model form, the 7 Cities livery for the HST. So you might want to pop your pre-order in there to avoid disappointment, because, like I say, they're not going to be lasting very long at all. But it's a great time, again, for lots of stuff coming through at the moment. We're really excited with all these new releases.
There is something coming through for everyone at the moment. Whatever you model, whatever scale, whatever region, whatever era, there is an exciting new model on the way for you. And it's probably been featured in one of our live streams as well. And if not so far, as soon as we get the latest news, it'll be on our social media pages, it'll be on our YouTube channel, and it'll be featured on Platform 1 as well. So do keep in touch with us for all the latest news.
That's it. Keep an eye on our website, like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube. We try to get the latest news out there for you guys, give you all the latest updates on everything that's coming out. So do keep an eye on us, and we will deliver. Right, we're coming up to about 10 minutes left on stream here, so quite a few questions coming through I can see to my left. So if you want to ask anything else, get them in now, so you've got a little bit of time left for us to answer a few more questions here. Right, let's dive in and see what people want to know.
Okay.
So Everything Technology says, is there any more news on Dapol's Engage 67? So we saw some body shells for that a few months ago, didn't we, at the Great Central Railway? But I'm not sure when
there's 4 new releases on the way, including Colas Rail and DB Schenker, the Royal Train livery as well,
yes, of course,
are coming through. Now, the latest they've informed us is early autumn time, so we're looking about sort of late September, October time for those coming through, and that'll be alongside 2 new Class 66s as well. They'll be producing the unique Freightliner Blue, as well as EWS livery with DB Schenker branding. All of those are available to view on our website and pre-order as well. And as soon as we get any new information, we'll pop it on our website and feature it on Platform 1 as well.
It's all go for Engage diesel models, isn't it?
It really is. It really is.
Got those 67s coming through, Dapol 66s in the Gauge Master Collection, 66s as well. So there's a lot coming through for you guys, and obviously we've got the HIA wagons for them to haul. Right, Jackamus Prime 60 says he's got some great ideas. And he'd like to see a Class 3F Ginty model in Santa's Express red livery. That'd be quite a sight to see. That's a fantastic idea. But we do get a lot of ideas really coming through. You guys really do have some fantastic things that you want to see in model form. And we do have a special email address that you can send those ideas to as well, which goes straight to our development team, ideas@hattons.co.uk. So if you ever have any thoughts or any ideas or things that you want to see in model form, it all gets considered, it all gets logged. It's all very important for us to hear. So we do like to hear what you guys want to see in model form. 700 Shunter says, if you could pick a locomotive, which livery would you pick that it didn't have in service from other railway companies, i.e. a small England in SR olive green?
Ooh, now that's a tricky one. I'd like to see an A4 in LMS Crimson Lake.
Ooh.
You never saw a red one, and I think it'd just set them off quite nicely with the streamlining. That's the one for me.
Quite elegant, isn't it?
It is, but I think I'd get a little bit confused with myself and end up just going for the grey again. So I have to get my pre-order in for that at some point. That's one thing I'll have to do when we come off air, is get my pre-order in there. So, but that's the one for me.
Yeah, I'm struggling to really think there. That's a really good question, actually.
I think it has to be a pacer for you, doesn't it, Jack?
I might have to be a pacer, mightn't it? Let's have a think. What would look good on a pacer?
ScotRail?
ScotRail.
ScotRail.
Because they never really made it to Scotland, did they? They were kind of free really from the pacer, the pacer overhaul over there. So that might be an interesting one to see, or maybe one. A lot of people I've seen on forums and stuff, they quite like to livery up DMUs in sort of freight liveries, and almost as like a personnel car or something like that. I've seen 153s in Freightliner and stuff like that. So maybe a Colas 142 or something might be an interesting
Things
one.
to consider.
It's all possible in model form as well.
Exactly.
So why not give it a go? Redshed 66077 says, hi, is there any news on Dapol's 59?
The 59 now, there's a double O gauge and an N scale model coming through the 59. Now we believe that Dapol has just had new decorated samples of the double O gauge model come through. So as soon as we get access to those images, we'll be popping them on our product listings, and we'll be contacting everyone who has either a pre-order or a registered interest too. And we'll also be featuring them on Platform 1 as well. So the best way to find out the latest news there on the 59 as soon as we get it is sign up for an email alert or place a pre-order, or have a look on our social media channels such as Facebook, or watch Platform 1, or all three.
Please. Yeah, and with regard to the Engage one, we've not had much updates on that one recently, but like Dave said, keep an eye on us and we'll give that information as soon as it comes through from Dapol.
We will indeed.
Clive Cobbold, sorry if I said that wrong. He says, hi guys, great video stream. Hattons has become my first choice for model railways since he lost his local model shop. Is there any news on our Hattons Originals Yob Placer 12-ton crane? So we should have some updates on that very soon, we hope.
Yeah.
We're looking to get some updated CAD files through for you guys to see. And it's still on track for its release next year as well. So
it is indeed. And again, all the latest information we'll put out as soon as we get it.
That's it. John Wildboar says, any jobs going? We do actually have some jobs, as a matter of fact, at the moment. If you go on Indeed, we do actually have some positions available with our customer experience team at the moment. So if you'd like to come and work alongside us guys in our customer experience department, go on Indeed and find out. You might be able to come and work at Hattons. Guy Manuel says, hi guys, I've just pre-ordered the Accurascales Caledonian Sleeper Mark V coaches, along with a Class 92 Can't wait till it comes out. That's great to hear. Spicy Alfredo says, will you add the Evening Star livery to the Hattons Class 66 lineup in the future, as he's partial to that paint scheme?
It's something to consider. I mean, we've 32 liveries coming through at the moment, really. We've quite a lot on the way, but there are liveries that haven't been covered by the model so far, so it's an option for the future. You know, we'll look into the sort of success of the first releases there, so to speak, and see what we can do.
Like you say, we've got 32 liveries coming through. We don't like to do things by halves, really, do we? But realistically, that's just scratching the surface of the 66 story. There's so many liveries and so many operators for them, and they're still getting new liveries pretty much every day at the moment. So there really is a lot of scope for the future.
It is, and for those who may have missed it, we did do a full update on the Class 66 Hattons original project in last week's Platform 1, which is available to view on our YouTube channel, and that was an interview of our exclusive production manager, Dave Milet, as well. So all the latest news on the 66 is viewable today in last week's live stream.
700 Shunter says that the 262 in BR Early looks incredible. It does look fantastic, that LMB. I'm really excited to see that coming through again. And obviously, like we said last week, we checked out the 242 as well. So if you want to have a look at that, do check out last week's stream. Ewan's Trains and Buses says he's thoroughly enjoying the stream this week, and the A4s look rather impressive. Yeah, like I say, we're really excited to get the proper working samples of these coming through. So keep an eye out online for those. We're just coming up to the 5-minute mark now, so just time for a few last-minute questions in there. We've still got a few to cover. Sorry if we don't get a chance to answer your question, but if there is something urgent you want to get answered, do get on the phone, send us an email, send us a Facebook message, whatever's easiest for you. Get in touch and we can answer that. We've got our amazing customer experience team who can answer all your questions out there, but we'll try and answer a few more now anyway. Megaflyer37 says that he's building a London Underground model railway. Now, you don't see a lot of underground railways, do you? But there's some really fantastic ones out there.
There are some really nice models available at the moment, and you can have a look through our listings there for what's been produced. We've recently had the Helgen 00 gauge Metropolitan electric locomotives. The main one there known is Sarah Siddons, which is preserved by London Underground and used on heritage services. And those models are available on our listings in 00 scale at the moment. So if you are a 00 modeler, if you're tempted to join our gentleman there in his steps, you know, you can get some good stuff at the moment.
You can even do London modelling in O-gauge now as well, can't you? Because there's the pannier tank available.
There is indeed, yes.
London Transport
well remembered.
There. So it's creeping in there. I think that might be something we might see more of in the future.
I think so. I think we'll see a lot of London Transport models coming through.
I feel like there's been a bit of water dipping, but now I think it'll be coming through a bit more. 700 Shunt says, what's your favourite BR experimental livery?
Ooh. Purple.
It's
got to be purple.
I quite like the 47 that they did with the... It had the normal double arrows on it, but then the arrows were extended right the way along.
Oh, yes.
And then I think at some point they filled those in with like UK flag colours.
They did.
So
the Union flag was represented
really
on there.
And if you want to actually see more about that, there is an article on our website. If you go to the product news section and find it on there, we do have a guide about all the Class 47 liveries that there's ever been, and links to find them in model form if they're available as well. It was fascinating putting that one together.
So if you're a Class 47 aficionado and there's over 500 of the locos to look at in real life, that's really the place to go.
Ben Davis says, hi Hans, great YouTube video as always, thank you very much.
Thank you.
He's seen our job post, but it's a bit far for him to come, and he says that he's got the new Dapol wagons, but he's after a big boy as well. So there's a lot of people who I think are going to have to get one of these big boys, aren't
That's it. And to say again, as we said at the start of the stream, we haven't actually got many of the big boys left, and they are selling fast. So if it has tempted you by having a closer look there and on the table in front of us today, do have a look at ordering one now. We haven't got many to go.
Ewan's Trains and Buses says he was at Ali Pali earlier this year and he had a good look at our 66ers in the cabinet. So yeah, do come and see us at the shows that we attend. We're always happy to see you guys there. Come and meet us guys if we're available at every show, and you can come and have a picture or whatever you want to do. Come and see us. got quite a few comments here. Spicy Alfredo again, he says, any news on the release for Holby's Ruston Shunter? That's another one I'm really excited to see coming through.
Now, these are very nice. There's 4 different liveries coming available, and they are due in autumn now, so that's any time between October and December.
Yeah.
And that's all 4 liveries. The latest information on those can be viewed on our website too, as well as pre-order them, so you can get an order in now. And again, they are selling quite fast those as well, so we don't expect those to hang around. So for the latest news on the Ruston, head on to our website and have a look at the link there, and they're available to order and view now. That's
it. Ben Davis says he can't wait to watch the Great Model Railway Challenge again. Yeah, we're really excited for that as well. Jacquemus Prime says he'd like to see a Class 7.5 EMU in the future. That's another great idea that you could send through to us by email if you like. And I think we've got time for one more question. We're just coming up to the end of the show now, guys, so let's have a look. Ben Davis again, he says, what's your favourite paint job for the 66?
Oh, for me, I think it has to be the Biffa.
Oh,
the Biffa Red.
You've gone for the contra.
It's bright, it's noticeable, it's available in 00 and N-gauge. What's not to like?
No problems there. I'm going to go for Coalish Rail, bit of a different choice, I think, so a lot of people would say, but I just think it really suits the loco. Looks fantastic. Right, unfortunately, guys, I think that's the end for us now. Thanks very much for joining us again. Hope you found all that news really interesting. And thanks very much for all your fantastic comments and ideas and all your questions. And we look forward to seeing you next week's show.
Thanks, guys. See you again soon.
See you next time.